Hello and welcome to CloudFolks HUB. My name is Bhavesh Atara. I know you are eager to learn ECS, Elastic Container Service, and we are going to start this for sure. But before I'm going to start ECS training, I want you to become familiar with some of terminology like loosely coupled application, tightly coupled application, microservices. You have to understand this terminology. Why? Because I'm going to use these words again and again during our ECS training. I don't want you to become confused when I'm going to use these words. And that's why before I'm going to start this ECS training, I'm going to explain you about application architectures. So let's start. As always, we are going to start with introduction. When we are going to use any application, for example, right now I have Amazon.in web app is open. Now for us, this is like a simple app, but designing or development of this app is not easy. They have to define how the app is built, how different modules talk to each other, how data flows and operations are performed. You know, for us, this is like a very simple one web application like e-commerce application. But this is not only one app. There are so many apps working together. For example, if I'm going to search phones, mobile phones here I'm getting list of only mobile phones. Maybe different application is working over here to give me list of all the mobile phones. Now, if I'm going to select this particular phone, I have to click on add to cart. Now, this item has been added to the cart. I'm going to add two mobile over here and now I'm going to visit my cart. So here, altogether different application or component is working. Now, I have two mobile phones added into the cart. I'm going to say that, okay, I like this particular mobile. Let's remove this mobile from the cart. Now, I have only one mobile into the cart. And now I'm going to click on proceed to buy. Now when I'm going to click on proceed to buy, it is going to open all new component or application. So when they are creating this kind of application, they have to define data flow, how the data will flow from one application to another, or we can say that from one component to another. So basically when they create or develop application, they have to define structure and design of how the different part of an app are organized and connected. Define how these different components like list of mobile phones, cart application and payment application are going to work effectively and how they are going to communicate with each other. So before they are going to develop application, they have to define application architectures. Now we have two most popular architecture available. One is monolithic architecture. We call it tightly coupled. Let me tell you, this is outdated. Nowadays we are not using it. But to understand microservices, modern architecture, you have to understand tightly coupled. So we have mainly two architectures. One monolithic, outdated. The new one, we call it microservices based architecture. We also call it loosely coupled. Now, what we are doing, we are going to compare them, right? Now, this comparison will provide you clear understanding between these two. And you will find out that why microservices is actually better than monolithic architecture. So, let's compare them. Here, we are going to compare both of them, but before this you can find out the pictures. See, this is actually monolithic architecture. Here we have one single application with multiple components. In the monolithic architecture, here we can say that we have multiple applications isolated from each other, but they are working together as a single application. So each components, for example, cart is a different software or different application, payment is a different software or different application. All the are working together as a single application, and that's why each component is called microservices. Now, I have 12 points which is actually giving us clear differences or clarity between these two. So, first of all, if I'm going to talk about structure of monolithic architecture, single unified code base and deployment unit means the entire application is single application. They have single code base and they have single setup to install, right? If I'm going to talk about microservices based structure, multiple small services with independent code base. Here we have different code base, different deployment for each microservices. So we have to develop them separately, we have to deploy them separately. So all of them are actually working, or the deployment of this application is totally isolated from each other. Now, coupling, tightly coupled. Components depend heavily on each other because they are working inside single code base. So, single code base is defining entire application. Here, we call it loosely coupled. Why? Because each component is working as a separate software. We call it microservices, right? And you can use different code set for each and every microservices here. That's why we call it loosely coupled. Deployment, one deployment for the entire app. You have one setup. When you install this, entire application is going to set up. Here we have each components working as a separate services. So we have different deployment for each microservices. Scalability. Now, difficult to scale parts independently. Here, easy to scale services individually. Now, this is the most important point. And you have to understand this because this is actually giving us clarity that why companies are moving towards microservices. Let me explain you this. See.
Sorry to interrupt you. I know you guys are enjoying our video a lot because our final ultimate goal is Solution Architect Certification exam. To reach the destination, we required full videos. Path number 1, our 6-in-1 program. Our 6-in-1 program include all prerequisite skills which is needed as a cloud engineer. It include 24/7 support, lifetime update, section-wise practice test, full course practice test with tips and tricks by Bhavesh Atara, how to do exam preparation course, weekly lifetime live session with Bhavesh Atara, and 6 AWS project with documents. Path number 2, you can enroll by paying 499 and get Hindi and English, both the languages, videos of AWS. The choice is yours how to create your success story by choosing best one. Best of luck. Thank you.